How did Americans greet each other before hi? I had assumed that hi was a somehow abbreviated form of hello, but though both of these words appear to have originated from a noise to attract attention, hi actually predates hello. These words both appeared in the mid to late 1800s, and seem to be primarily American usage. Does anyone know what Americans used for greetings prior to this time period? Update on September 10, 2011. Although I have come to feel that how do ye and its variant howdy are most likely the common greetings in the early days of America, part of the difficulty in assessing this is the lack of recorded everyday speech. I was also unaware that howdy was used anywhere other than the US South prior to the 1800s, but the OED begs to differ. If someone has the citation for this, please feel free to link it. There was considerable discussion in chat about the problem of researching common conversational speech, and during the course of that discussion, I realized that probably the best place to look would be plays, since they involve dialogue that might represent a natural conversation. After a lot of searching through early American plays, I came across holly used as a greeting in the early American drama The Contrast by Royal Tyler. It was written and performed circa 1759, and its setting is contemporaneous New York City, therefore this greeting is probably an example of natural speech. Interestingly, I did not find any instances of any other greetings. However, finding plays that were actually set in America in the 1700s and were also written around that period proved difficult.
Howdy ye, how do you do, howdy? From the etymology.com page on howdy. Howdy 1840, first recorded in southern US dialect, contraction of how do you do, 1630s, phrase inquiring after someone's health, earlier how do ye, 1560s. Note that a search for how do you do in the corpus of historical American English, Koha, 1810s, 2000s, in particular brings results that are from the early 1810s, see number of occurrences per decade below. This supports that the usage of how do you do precedes the year in which Americans started greeting with hi according to etymonline.com, 1862. Similar searches in the Koha for how do ye do and howdy support that also their usage was prior to when hi started being used as a greeting. How, hail. Disclaimer, no evidence that these words were used in America. What follows is more like an interesting note on the history of greetings in English. The book Speech Acts in the History of English dedicates an entire chapter to greetings in English language history. Among the greetings that it covers, I would say that the closest one to hi, in spelling and usage, is hail. The author describes hail as the Middle English daughter form of the Old English interjection how. How would literally mean health. You can browse the book here in Google Books.
The word hello was originated in 1865-1870s. These other words are considered much older and may have been used. Howdy, stereotypically Southern American greeting, contraction of how do you do? 1820-30, how do you do? Seems like the most likely phrase used, 1625-35, good day/morning/afternoon, 1175 to 1225, greetings, before 900. Source.
Since this seems to call for some trend analysis data, I did the needful and used Google Grams. American. British. From which comparison I take it that hello isn't that terribly unknown in British English. Hello even seems to follow, roughly, the same trends in both Brie and Ame. Hello started to rise in popularity around the turn of the last century in both Ame and Brie. Good acts combined seemed to outweigh the others until greetings took over in the 1870s. Of course there are all sorts of possible problems. I didn't use hi because it got a zillion false positives for more of 3 in chapter headings and Old English hi for mode he. These are from books, which tend towards the more formal. I find greetings to be stilted and archaic even though it seems to be currently still quite popular. I'm still left with the nagging feeling that, as pompous as it sounds to my 21st century Ame ears, greetings was actually used at least in print. I would have guessed howdy but not in books.
I think how are you changed to hi and then to hi.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.